Have you ever heard a ghost before you saw it? They say at certain train stations in Hokkaido, Japan. In a cold, cold night, if you stay too long, you'll hear it. A sound that doesn't belong. A scraping. A dragging. Like fingernails clawing concrete. Like bone scratching against gravel. Teke. 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 That sound means you're already too late. Because the thing crawling toward you is no longer human. It is the ghost of a girl who was cut in half by accident on the train tracks. The officers who arrived at the scene admitted it was one of the most gruesome cases they had ever witnessed. On the freezing metal tracks, her upper body still begged for help in a soft, broken voice. The officer knew there was nothing he could do for her. He just had to place what remained of her into a body bag. Her voice faded away. And tonight I'll tell you her story. But this isn't one story. It's two. Two girls, two timelines. One in the past, one in the present. Both bound by the same station and the same fate, waiting on the tracks. It begins like a simple school day. It started like any other day. Sakura opened her locker. Inside, her books were perfectly organized, surrounded by snacks and little gifts she received from classmates every single day. The shining metal reflected her flawless face. She was smart, beautiful, admired, and came from a wealthy family. To everyone around her, Sakura was the definition of perfect. Yumi was the opposite. She wore thick glasses, kept to herself. Her grades were average, and no one really knew what her life was like at home. She drew attention too, but only from bullies. The kind of people who enjoyed hurting others for fun. One girl stood at the top of the pyramid. The other was stuck at the bottom. But soon, their paths would cross. At the same place, under the harsh light of an oncoming train. Inside the classroom, Sakura and her best friend Aiko chatted happily. Everyone at school knew them as the perfect pair. When it came to academics, Sakura always ranked first, with Aiko right behind her in second. At every school event, the two girls were chosen for leading roles together. Where there was Sakura, there was always Aiko. Teachers praised them, celebrated their high scores, showering them with admiration as if they were the treasures of the class. One quiet afternoon in the library, the school's most popular boy walked in towards Sakura and Aiko. A confident athlete, handsome, the type who never seemed nervous about anything.
Can I get your phone number?
Aiko's eyes lit up, her cheeks turned pink, and her lips curved into a bright smile. She quickly took his phone and started typing in her number. But then, his gaze shifted. Not to Aiko, to Sakura.
Actually, could I have your number instead?
The final word dropped into silence. Aiko's fingers froze. Her smile collapsed. After the boy got what he wanted and walked away, Aiko whispered to Sakura, her voice trembling with disappointment.
I thought he liked me.
And from that moment, envy began to take root inside her, quietly eating away from within. Yumi, a girl with thick glasses, sat hunched over at a desk in the middle of the classroom, completely alone. Crumpled papers were tossed at her. A strange note had been taped to her back. The kids behind her giggled, while the teacher at the front of the room ignored it all, as if nothing was happening. Yumi curled in on herself, lowering her head even more, trying to hide beneath the desk. She made herself as small as she possibly could. That afternoon, in the hushed stillness of the library, she sat at the very last table in the row. Her thick lenses hid her face further, now shadowed by a towering stack of books piled high in front of her. She watched the other students gather in cheerful groups, studying together, whispering and laughing softly. Her fingers squeezed the pen in her hand tight. A pang of loneliness cut through her. No one wanted to be her friend. No one ever asked for her number. No one, not even once, turned to look her way. A few days after being asked for her number, the boy invited Sakura out. They spent the day together until evening, when it was finally time to part ways. He offered to walk her to the train station. While waiting on the platform, he bought her a drink from a vending machine. She gave him a bright smile, tinged with a shy blush, as her way of saying thanks. But soon after taking a sip, Sakura began to feel strange. Her vision blurred, her legs weakened.
What did you put in my drink?
Her voice trembled as she staggered back, trying to escape. The boy reached for her, not to help, but to keep her under control. Then the unthinkable happened. Still dazed, Sakura stumbled. The heel of her shoe caught in the narrow gap of the platform's edge. She fell backward, crashing onto the tracks below. At that very moment, the train she had been waiting for came roaring into the station. A flood of blinding light bore down on her, far too fast to stop. With the last of her fading strength, she reached out a trembling hand, hoping the boy she trusted might still show her mercy. But when their eyes met, hesitation flickered across his face, and in the final instant, his selfishness won. The train station felt just like any other day. Yumi stood on the platform waiting for her ride home. She was tired, clutching a heavy stack of books in her arms. But she wasn't alone. The group of girls who bullied her every day were there too. The moment they spotted her, they came straight over. One of them, pretty on the outside, cruel on the inside, smirked.
Careful, Four Eyes. Keep your head down like that, and you'll end up falling off.
Yumi tried to slip past them, moving to another spot on the platform. But words alone weren't enough fun. The same girl shoved her hard from behind. The weight of the books she carried threw her off balance, and unfortunately, she was standing at the very edge. Her body slammed onto the gravel below. The pain left her unable to stand. Suddenly, a blinding light cut across her vision. The screech of a train horn tore through the air. Her cries for help echoed through the station. Her terrified eyes turned upward, toward the girls watching from above. Fate played like a recording on repeat, the past and present overlapping, shadows lining up perfectly. Two girls, from different lives, now lying on the same tracks, lit by the same train that once carried them home every night. But tonight, it arrived not as a promise of return, but as the executioner that would claim her forever. Yumi's fists clenched against the gravel, shards cutting into her palms. Her thick glasses were cracked across her face. The train roared closer, and her hope flickered, fading by the second. And then, a hand. A cold, mysterious hand seized her wrist. She was yanked upward with inhuman strength, thrown back onto the platform. Her breath came in sharp, panicked gasps as she looked up and froze. Even through the blur of her broken glasses, she knew. The one who saved her was not human. A woman's face, pale as death, framed by tangled hair. Only her upper body remained. She crawled forward, dragging herself with elbows, arms, and hands. The sound of her movement echoed through the platform. The laughter of the bullies cut off. Their eyes went wide. The crawling figure drew closer and closer. The girl who had pushed Yumi stood at the front of the group, trembling. Her gaze locked with the ghosts. One pair of eyes filled with terror, the other burning with vengeance.
Remember me, bestie?
A weak hand reached out, grasping for hope. Guilt and self-interest warred in his head. She was the girl he liked, but if she told anyone he'd drugged her. In the end, fear won. The boy turned his back on her pleading and ran, fast and far, like he'd never been there at all. Sakura watched his retreating back with burning hatred. Then her wet eyes landed on someone else, someone painfully familiar. Aiko. Aiko stood, hiding by a pillar just a few meters away. She had seen everything, from the moment Sakura drank to this very second. Sakura's hand reached out again, eyes bright with one last flicker of hope, toward her friend, the closest person she had at school. But a hidden truth rushed in. Aiko did not move. She only stared with empty eyes, because deep down, she wanted Sakura gone. Without Sakura, she might finally be number one. The train surged forward, and in an instant, she was split in two. Physical pain flashed and then vanished, but the rage left behind dug in too deep to forget. Her spirit was consumed by that hatred. The half of her that remained crawled along the platform, using elbows and hands to drag herself forward. Blood and the sound of her dragging echoed with each movement. That cold night, Teke Teke was born. The group of girls screamed and scattered in every direction, but Aiko couldn't move. Her legs trembled, tears welled in her eyes, drowning her in fear. 2 years ago, on this very platform, the past had finally come back for her. The crawling sound grew louder. Sakura's eyes locked on her. In her right hand, she gripped a rusted sickle so tightly her knuckles turned white. A twisted smile slowly spread across her pale face, a smile of joy tangled with vengeance. At last, she had found the traitorous friend she'd been searching for. And now, Aiko would share the same fate.